Vibe Coders Security 101. Today we're going to talk about CSP, Content Security Policy. There's a principle in the security world where you start with something called zero trust, which means you don't trust anyone, and then you selectively give trust. This is a bigger knife than yesterday, so I better be careful. You start with zero trust, and then you selectively give trust that you want to the appropriate parties. If you're building a website or a web app or an application or something like that, you will want to define something called a CSP, because it's most likely that Claude or ChatGPT or whoever isn't going to bring this up unless you bring it up first. And a content security policy, I should say, is generally a set of details in a file, like a JSON file. So for example, if you use Vercel to deploy your web servers, then there is a vercel.json file that can be written for you, and that will have in it a section which defines your content security policy. Why do you need it? Go back to the whole zero trust concept. If I don't trust anyone and I put something on my website that needs to talk to another service, for example, Google Analytics, then when I fire up the website, deploy it to Vercel, and I look at the console view, do you know how to do that? In Chrome, you go to the view menu and hit developer and hit JavaScript console. In Safari, you have to go into the settings and enable developer settings, and you'll see it in the develop menu. If you look in there, you'll see an error in red and it says it cannot talk. This website, Google Analytics, whatever the website is not defined in the content security policy. That's a good thing. It means that your security is working. The Google Analytics is not working, so you have to do something to allow that to work. And it's really simple. All you have to do is define that Google Analytics domain in your content security policy, in your CSP. And it will be the same for several other things that you might want to do. You may have a contact form which has a location of a business address. You want to use a Google embed map that shows that visually. And to do that, you again will need to put that Google domain in the CSP. If you use a service like Brevo, which I like to use for sending emails through a form that you've built, then that service needs to be in your CSP as well. You are slowly increasing the trust radius of the companies and websites that you speak to, so that you are always in control of the amount of providers that you work with. And that defines your content security policy.